انت شفت الضربة؟
والله انا لسه جاي بطل ابنه الكورة وبصيروا قسموها ابنه هو يضرب بس.
كنت تلعب كورة؟
لا والله كنت الكورة هو ابنه وانا صغير كنت على السيارة. لا يوقع لا قلت له اياه.
قلت له الكورة؟
لا هو لسه بطبل لو بيمسح السرور. فانا شلت ابن اخوي ودخلت جوا الدار. بعدين حملته وبدأت حضر الناس جرينا. ووديته. في كمان واحد اسمه صالح القرآن راسه كله طلع مخه طلع. راح كبوت لي مقعد. والله ما هي حياة ولا حاجة.
There's been a lot of coverage regarding the ongoing genocide being perpetrated by the Israeli government in the Gaza Strip, and for a second I want to really hone in on children because I think it's really necessary in this conversation. As of today, over 1,600 Palestinian children have been killed as a result of Israeli airstrikes in the Gaza Strip, with thousands more injured and hundreds likely under the rubble. Those numbers are horrific, and they're made more horrific when you understand that for Israeli military planners that was always going to be an outcome they considered, given that over half of the population of the Gaza Strip is under the age of 18. But for a second I want us to move away from that gruesome death toll and think about the survivors, children who have to live through not only this genocidal campaign, but the last decade and a half of being locked in a concentration camp under total air, land, and sea blockade as a result of Israeli government policy towards the Gaza Strip. Think about what it must be like being a kid in those conditions, right? If you're 15, 16, you've lived your entire life under siege, right, under the constant threat of bombardment. You probably haven't even ever left the Gaza Strip as a result of that blockade. If you're a kid who's like 15 to 17 in the Gaza Strip, you have lived through multiple instances of these genocidal bombing campaigns, not just regularly, but these flare-ups that have occurred, pretty regularly as Israel has maintained its blockade. You're dealing with outright genocidal bombing campaigns coupled with constant low-intensity warfare, essentially. And in the midst of that, you were losing friends, family members, community members. You were seeing, buildings like hospitals, residential buildings, mosques, schools you might go to get bombed by Israeli forces. You have to live your entire life essentially worried that it might be the last day you spend on this earth, right? As a kid, you have to wrestle with that. You have to wrestle with your own mortality as a child, right? Every time you lay your head down to go to sleep, you have to have the conscious thought that you might not wake up because an Israeli airstrike might hit your home. I think that's maybe one of the really gruesome elements of the Israeli occupation, right? All of the death, all of the suffering, obviously, but the utter theft of childhood, right? These kids don't get to be children. These kids have been robbed of that by the occupation, by Israeli colonization of historic Palestine. They're having to witness all of these horrors, all of these atrocities, live through them, right? As, 10-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds? They're not even adults yet, and they have seen hell. They have lived through hell. Something worth thinking on as we see a continued genocide being perpetrated by the Israeli government against them. But yeah, as always, free Palestine, and have a great day.